And joining us from our international desk is Andrew Hilliar. Hello to you, Andrew. As we heard in that report, the region has become sort of prisoner to this nearly 2 weeks of tit-for-tat fighting. What did you make of these latest strikes?
Well, the latest developments this morning are that Iran has attacked a military base in Kuwait, a military base that hosts U.S. troops. There have been sirens sounding in Bahrain as well. This is because Iran has launched drones over U.S. bases in Jordan and Bahrain in response to those U.S. attacks on targets in Iran overnight that we heard about in that report there. An observation tower of the U.S. Fifth Fleet in Bahrain also attacked. Also, Iran claiming to have attacked an Amazon data center in Bahrain. The Iranians claiming that data center was used to provide data to the U.S. Army. Of course, no response or comment from Amazon or Bahrain at this stage. Other developments worth pointing out: Iran warning civilians to stay away from U.S. bases across the region. This morning there were several explosions heard near Erbil airport in northern Iraq. This is an airport that hosts US-led coalition troops. No confirmation on who was behind those attacks, and worth repeating what we just heard in that report there too. The US targeting at least 7 Iranian provinces in another night of escalation, those including southern provinces, but importantly the US expanding its targets from southern provinces to central and inner parts of Iran.
Yeah, we talk about that escalation, but we say that word almost every day, don't we? How long can this continue? Do you see either side having a clear long-term strategy?
Well, the Iranians do appear to have a long-term strategy. The US does appear to be targeting infrastructure. Iran is warning essentially that in response, infrastructure across the wider region will also be targeted. What Iranian leaders are saying here, Will, is that there'll either be security for everyone or security for no one. So if they can't sell oil, for example, they don't see why other countries should be able to sell oil. Now, when it comes to strategy, clearly what appears to be happening here is that US airstrikes, at least for now, do not failing to force Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps to give up control of the Strait of Hormuz. Now, the IRGC is instead retaliating by attacking those Gulf countries to drive a wedge between those Gulf countries and Washington. That's what we saw in the initial phase of this war, and it's happening again. And it's worth, Will, talking about the consequences here, not just regional, but also the global consequences. This is causing, of course, severe disruption to global energy and fertilizer trade, for example, because every day that oil, gas, and fertilizer cannot get through the Strait of Hormuz to global markets, well, that puts pressure on global supply chains and that pushes prices up. And that in itself is part of Iran's long-term strategy.
All right, Andrew. Thank you so much. Andrew Hilliar from our international desk.